Most people first hear about intermittent fasting the same way they hear about any big health trend. A friend loses weight. A podcast praises it. A headline calls it a breakthrough. Suddenly, it sounds like a secret weapon, a shortcut, a biohack that flips a switch and melts problems away. So people jump in with high hopes. They skip breakfast, stretch their willpower, drink more coffee, and wait for magic to happen. But for many, the magic never comes. Instead, they feel tired, irritable, hungry, or confused. Some quit and say fasting does not work. Others push harder and blame themselves. And almost no one stops to ask a better question. Not, why am I failing at fasting? But was I taught the right way to understand it in the first place? Because the uncomfortable truth is this: intermittent fasting is not magic, and it was never meant to be. It is simply a timing strategy that works with your biology when used wisely and works against you when used carelessly. The difference between those two experiences is what most people never learn. Your body is not a calculator that only counts calories. It is a living system that runs on rhythms. Hormones rise and fall. Enzymes turn on and off. Cells repair themselves on schedules. For most of human history, eating was not constant. There were natural gaps between meals. Nights without food were normal. The body evolved to handle those gaps and even to use them productively. Modern life quietly erased those gaps. Late-night snacks, sugary drinks, grazing all day, eating while working, eating while driving, eating while scrolling. The digestive system rarely gets a full break. Insulin stays elevated more often. The body spends more time storing and less time accessing stored energy. None of this makes your body broken. It simply means your environment changed faster than your biology did. Intermittent fasting, at its core, is just the reintroduction of a pause. A window where digestion rests and your system can shift priorities. When food is not constantly arriving, the body can tap into stored energy. Certain cellular cleanup processes become more active. Blood sugar has a chance to stabilize. Many people notice steadier energy and calmer cravings over time. Not because of suffering, but because of alignment. But this is where people misunderstand the idea. They think if a small fasting window helps, a huge one must be better. So they jump to extremes. Long fasts, aggressive schedules, pushing through strong hunger, while sleeping poorly and living under high stress. Then they wonder why they feel worse. The body does not see that as optimization. It sees it as pressure. Fasting is a signal, and your body interprets signals in context. A gentle overnight fast combined with good sleep and decent nutrition can feel supportive. A long fast combined with stress, low protein, and poor recovery can feel threatening. The same tool creates different results depending on the environment around it. Imagine two people using intermittent fasting. One sleeps 7 to 8 hours, eats balanced meals, manages stress reasonably well, and uses a 12 to 14-hour overnight fasting window. The other sleeps 5 hours, rushes through the day, eats low-quality food, and forces a long fasting window out of guilt. On paper, they are both fasting, but biologically, they are having completely different conversations with their bodies. Your body's main job is survival, not aesthetics. When it feels supported, it becomes more flexible with energy use. When it feels threatened, it becomes protective. That protection can look like fatigue, stronger hunger signals, or stubborn weight. Not because your body is against you, but because it is trying to keep you safe. One of the smartest shifts you can make is to stop seeing fasting as a test of discipline and start seeing it as a scheduling tool. You are not trying to prove toughness. You are trying to create a rhythm where your body knows food is coming regularly, but not constantly. A rhythm where insulin has time to come down. A rhythm where digestion, repair, and energy use take turns instead of competing all day. For many adults, especially over 40, a simple overnight fast of about 12 to 14 hours already creates benefits. Dinner at 7 in the evening and the first meal around 9 or 10 the next morning fits naturally into many lives. This is not dramatic. It is not extreme. It often feels almost normal. And that is exactly why it works. Sustainable strategies beat heroic ones. Some people later drift toward a 15 or 16-hour window. But the key word is drift, not force. When the body adapts, hunger patterns change. Appetite can become calmer. If you constantly fight your fasting window, that is feedback. It means something in your setup needs adjusting. Another piece people overlook is what happens when you break the fast. If you end a fasting window with pastries, sugary drinks, or heavily refined foods, blood sugar spikes and crashes. Energy swings follow, cravings return. But if you break a fast with protein, fiber, and whole foods, the body gets a stable signal. Fasting does not erase poor food quality. It works best when paired with reasonable choices. There is also a mental clarity many people report during well-structured fasting. This is not mystical. When blood sugar is more stable and digestion is not constant, some people feel less foggy and more focused. The brain runs on a steady fuel supply instead of a roller coaster. That can feel surprisingly good. Still, fasting is not for every situation. If your life is in a season of intense stress, emotional strain, or chronic sleep deprivation, your priority may need to be recovery first. Adding aggressive fasting on top of high stress can be like pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. Gentle structure often works better than strict rules in those seasons. Wisdom is knowing when to use a tool and when to simplify. Intermittent fasting is a tool. It is not an identity. You do not need to label yourself. You do not need to chase perfect numbers. You only need to create reasonable breaks from constant eating so your body can do what it already knows how to do. Think of it like this. Your body is a well-designed house. Fasting is not rebuilding the house. It is simply giving the cleaning crew time to work without new clutter arriving every minute. If you never stop bringing things in, the crew cannot keep up. If you create space, the system works more smoothly. Another helpful mindset is to focus on consistency over intensity. A moderate fasting window done calmly most days will usually outperform extreme fasting done inconsistently. The body trusts patterns. When it can predict your routine, it regulates hunger and energy more smoothly. Chaos creates louder signals. Rhythm creates calmer ones. Hydration also matters. Many people confuse thirst with hunger. Drinking water during fasting windows supports circulation, digestion, and energy. It is a simple habit that makes the process feel easier. And then there is patience. Your body is not a machine that flips overnight. Hormones adapt gradually. Enzymes adjust. Cells respond to repeated signals. When you give your body steady patterns instead of sudden shocks, it responds more favorably. If fasting ever makes you feel dizzy, unwell, or overly stressed, that is not failure, that is information. You can shorten the window, adjust your meals, or focus on sleep and stress first. Flexible thinking beats rigid rules. The real power of intermittent fasting is not in chasing a trend. It is in understanding your biology enough to cooperate with it. When you do that, changes often feel quieter. Less mindless snacking, more stable energy, a sense of control that does not require constant effort. Those are meaningful wins. Health rarely improves through punishment. It improves through alignment, through matching your habits to how your body actually works. Intermittent fasting can be part of that alignment when used with respect for your life, your stress level, and your needs. So if fasting has not worked for you before, it does not automatically mean it is wrong for you. It may mean the version you tried was too aggressive or disconnected from the rest of your lifestyle. Smarter often beats harder, especially as you get older and your recovery capacity changes. Your goal is not to impress anyone with long fasting hours. Your goal is to build a pattern your body can trust, one that supports energy, clarity, and sustainability. When fasting works, it usually feels calm. No obsession, no drama, no constant hunger battles. Just a steady rhythm that fits your life. And remember this, your body is not your enemy. It is responding to the signals you give it. When you change the signals, the response changes. That is not magic. That is biology doing what it was designed to do. If this helped you see intermittent fasting in a smarter, calmer way, subscribe and watch the next video. And if you are serious about getting results and building a healthier, more sustainable lifestyle, click the link below and get yours now.